civil and other Abrahamic faiths.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're just going to give like a 5-minute grace period for everyone to join us, and we will start promptly at 7:05, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're just giving another minute for everyone to join us, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. So we can now officially begin. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Guidance Residential's Islamic Home Finance webinar. We know that weeknights are typically busy times, so we greatly appreciate your attendance and thank you for taking the time to join us and learning more about our company and what we offer. My name is Hana Ghafoor. I'm an account executive here at Guidance Residential, and I will be your moderator this evening. And here beside me is the Vice President of Sales for the Eastern Division, Abdussamad Melwan. He will be the host of our webinar tonight. And he's been with the company for, mashallah, over 10 years and has reached numerous milestones with his sales and managing achievements. So before I give the floor to Abdussamad, I would just like to point out that in order to eliminate background noise and interference, your microphones will be muted for the duration of the webinar. However, your questions are very important to us. So we would like to invite you to type your questions into the chat, and they will be answered at the end of our presentation when we dedicate some time to Q&A, inshallah. So without further ado, I present to you Abdussamad.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.
You're
I appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope that you're having a great evening if you are in the East Coast, and great afternoon if you are in the West Coast. We understand that your time is very, very valuable, so we thank you so much for attending this session. We hope that's going to be very informative, and you walk away with some knowledge of how Guidance have, become the premier brand in the industry, and how Guidance have actually laid the path for so many other organizations to follow our footsteps. The topic today, as you know, it's very crucial, very critical. Us as Muslims, our faith, and not only us as Muslims, but even other faiths as well, which we're going to talk about tonight. But very important to understand that riba, it's forbidden and it is not permissible. And I would like to share with you this slide that talks about how severe the sin or the riba itself when it comes to our religion. So here I'm sharing with you a slide from the Quran. For some of you who may not be able to read Arabic, I'm going to read it from you. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. That says, those who take unlawful interest will stand before God on the day of judgment as those whose minds have been corrupted by the influence of shaitan. They say that commerce is just like interest, but God had made commerce lawful. Is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have says in the Quran, and there is also a hadith, and there's also other ayahs. But I'm sure that most of us understood and have heard this, and this is not something new. But just to take you further, it's not only in our Islamic religion that riba is forbidden. It's also in other Abrahamic faiths. If you are able to see my screen, the first slide talks about do not charge your brother interest, whether on money or food or anything else that may earn interest. And this is, from the Bible. Another paragraph from the Leviticus, do not take interest of any kind from him, but fear your God, so that your countrymen may continue to live among you. Furthermore, if you lend money to one of my people among you who is needy, do not be like a money lender, charge him no interest. So you can see that, subhanAllah, it's because all the religions have one source, a divine source, which is, God, alhamdulillah. And because of that, all religions have this notion of riba is not permissible. But what's interesting and what's very fascinating is about our founding fathers and their views about riba. John Adams, as you can see here, Hannah, it says there are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. That's very powerful. One is by the sword, and the other is by debt. If you follow the news, the World Bank have really enslaved many nations by debt. Benjamin Franklin rather go to bed superless than rise in debt. This is, very profound, wisdom from our founding fathers here in the state. Thomas Jefferson, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. It's just, to conceive this notion, it's very important. Standing armies in comparison of, the danger of, unfortunately, banking institution. So this is what riba is, and this is how it is dangerous to walk that path, and that's how guidance really came to the picture. And I'm sure you probably have more questions about this topic to talk about.
Yes, definitely. I think, thank you so much, first of all, for explaining the warnings of interest and how avoiding it is necessary and applicable not only to Muslims but to all people, considering how much harm it inflicts when you partake in it. So can you please tell us a little bit more about how Guidance Residential is helping to achieve this goal?
Great. So given the fact that Guidance has been visionary in this area, the work didn't just start yesterday, but if we're just going to focus on Guidance Residential for now, and later on we will talk about the founding parent company, which is Capital Guidance. But for now, Guidance Residential and its mission have started back in 1999. 3 years of research and development that have took place from 1999 to 2002. That include working with scholars, working with law firms, working with state legislators, so on and so forth, to be licensed in 3 states. Then later on in 2007, we were the #1 Islamic finance company to ever reach $1 billion in home financing. That's not just in America, but in the whole entire West. Moving forward, in 2009, we were, greatly recognized by many publications, which I'm going to share with you later, but mostly by, institutions that Guidance have done a phenomenal job, and it's qualified to be the #1 organization in the West in Islamic finance. 2012, we become the largest corporate sponsored donor back to the Muslim community, whether it is an ICNA convention, mass convention, ISNA convention, giving back to masajid, so on and so forth. Back in 2012, that's 4 years ago, we've reached almost actually $1.5 million donated back to the institutions. That's 2012. Year to date, or since inception to date, I'm sure that the numbers are doubled. Now, in 2015, this is a landmark for us, which we wanted to share with the audience here. AMJA, which I'm going to talk about later on, which is an Islamic organization of body of scholars, have issued a declaration that Guidance has one of the best programs, the sound in general, that Muslim community can use and leverage when they want to purchase a home. Today, I see the slide says 2016. Now we're talking about 2017. So if I haven't said that, Happy New Year to all of you. 2016, which was just about a few days ago, we've actually served over $4 billion in home financing, which is a phenomenal number. And I hope this, explain the history of Guidance a bit, but more slides will talk more in details about how Guidance operates and so on and so forth.
Inshallah. So as an account executive, I tend to hear the question from consumers of where does Guidance Residential get its money from? And what a lot of people don't know is that Guidance Residential is actually a subsidiary of a much larger corporation. So can you please explain that to our viewers a bit about,
Sure.
our parent company and
Sure, Hans.
the structure?
So I just mentioned here that we focus on Guidance Residential and the history of Guidance Residential, but to take you, backward or a step forward, Guidance Financial Group, which is our parent company, belong to another much larger organization, which is Capital Guidance, and Dr. Muhammad Hamour, he's our chairman. They've started back 50 years ago, deeply rooted families in the Middle East that have gotten together to start transaction and working on real estate development and so on and so forth, which I'm going to share with you, but mainly focusing on Sharia perspective. So Capital Guidance is, the parent company of Guidance Financial Group, which is, managed by our CEO, Khalid Al-Sayed. Is the CEO and the president for the past 10 years for Guidance Financial Group. And Guidance Financial Group have multiple other companies. One of them is Guidance Residential. So we belong to a much larger organization. We will talk later at Guidance Realty Homes and other initiatives that we are working on, which the Muslim community will be benefiting from as well. Having said so, let's just dive in and talk about Capital Guidance. What Capital Guidance does. Capital Guidance, as I mentioned, was founded 50 years ago. And the work that's been done, it's been inspiring. Madison Marquette is one of, subsidiaries of Capital Guidance. And we do real estate development. We do hospitality industry. We do management, real estate management. So many other industries that got Capital Guidance, which is our mother company, our parent company, is involved on. But to focus on the whole entire offices that Guidance is in, it's about 77 offices in about 27 countries. That's a lot of offices here in Northeast in America. There's offices in Africa, as you can see here in the map, as well as Asia and Europe. That's Capital Guidance. Capital Guidance, as I mentioned, is actually a parent company of Guidance Financial Group, which is, again, managed by Khalid Al-Sayed as our CEO. We specialize in a niche, which is providing home financing to Muslims across the United States. We are the largest. We have over 85% of the market share. We have been in the business since 2002, as I shared with you earlier. And so the expertise that was gained, or we've gained in this industry, is unparalleled. In fact, we're now classified to be among the 100 largest, not just Sharia compliant, but 100 largest mortgage company in America. We are now, alhamdulillah, we can sit here and share with our audience. We are playing with the big players, alhamdulillah, and that's because of an audience like we have tonight, because of so many, Muslims who actually believe in Sharia finance, and they want to make sure to do something that does not compromise their values as Muslims. So again, we have, created other sister companies that will be soon heard of, which is Guidance Mutual and Guidance Investment as well. But what is important to share with you tonight, that we have a sister company which is called Guidance Realty Homes, which I'm going to touch upon up later to share with you the work of Guidance Realty Homes and how it can help our customers. Again, to share with you that here in this slide, we have a presence in 26 states, which I will share with you, and we have, worked with scholars who are not only knowledgeable in Islamic finance, but also knowledgeable of how, the capitalism, the industry, the conventional work work. We worked with Sharia scholars. We worked almost with 18 law firms to develop the program that we serve the community with. And the program is called the Declining Balance Co-Ownership, meaning you enter to a partnership with us and you end up owning our share little by little till you 100% become fully owner of our share. Now, we have a presence in about 26 states now. As you can see here in this map, all the yellow states are the state that we have presence in. So if our audience live in one of those states, want them to make sure to understand and know that we serve you and we are happy to work with you and help you through the process to purchase a home, inshallah. Having said that, if you don't live in one of those states, the yellow states, and you believe that there is a Muslim community that lives in your state and it's large enough, please let us know. We will be very happy to actually let you know that we are working on moving forward into other states such as Nebraska and so on and so forth. I shared with you earlier the media exposure that we had in 2009, 2010, and 2011, as you know, as in our audience know, that literally 1,100 banks closed in 2009 after the 2008 crisis. And at that time, Guidance had their best year ever. And the media really took notice of that and wanted to know why will the small Sharia compliant company, this is back then, will do much better than many others were closing. First, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thanks to our customers, but thanks to our management who was visionary and was always cautioned or not to get into the subprime lending and all that stuff. So the Huffington Post, the PBS, the USA Today, so on and so forth, all came in and have, wanted to know how we do the work and so on and so forth.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Abdulsamad, for going over our company structure. And I believe many people would be interested to know exactly how we've established and maintained Sharia compliance. You mentioned earlier that we had our Sharia board that we worked with for 3 years. So can you please elaborate a bit on that for us today?
Absolutely. That's the most important question. If anybody walking away with something, he needs to walk away with this. That Guidance does not and have never done sell any product without the approval of a Sharia board. We have established this mentality as a culture for Guidance and subsidiaries of Guidance, that we do not compromise when it comes to the values of the Sharia compliance of our contract. As I shared with you earlier in the history, since 1999 to 2002, 3 years of research and development, working with body of scholars who understand Islamic finance, who understand what does it take to make sure that the product is very sound and legitimate. So here I'm sharing with you 7 of our renowned world scholars who actually are on our Sharia board. Sheikh Yusuf Talal De Lorenzo, who reside here in the state, very knowledgeable, mashallah. By all means, we can share the bio of each and every scholar that we have here, or I welcome our audience to go into our website and just look into the bio of each and every one. Dr. Abdul Sattar Abu Ghudda from Syria. He is, mashallah, such a knowledgeable person when it comes to Islamic jurisprudence and precisely the fiqh al-buyu', or what is called jurisprudence of mu'amalat. Sheikh Nizam Yaqoubi from Bahrain, and Dr. Muhammad al-Ghali from Saudi Arabia, Dr. Muhammad Abu Bakr from Malaysia, and Dr. Imran Ashraf Osmani from Pakistan, and last but not least, the most respected scholar in this industry, Justice Muhammad Taqi Osmani, who he is a very inspiring personality when it comes to Islamic finance. He has write a lot of publication about this topic. He has a lot of talks about it. What's interesting about the scholars that sits in our board. Now, number one, for the audience to understand, those are scholars that get compensated for their time. When they come and they do the auditing, they do auditing yearly. So when they come and they do auditing, they get compensated for that time. Whether guidance makes money or lose money, they have no intrinsic value to that. They do not get involved in that.
Right.
They're not part owner of guidance. They have no interest in whether guidance loses or gain, but they get compensated for their time. And none of our product that we have, it's launched there without the approval of our Sharia board. So what's interesting among about all the scholars, they all, part of a very renowned world scholarly body of scholars is called IOFE. IOFE stands for Accounting and Auditing Organization on Islamic Financial Institutions. And all 7 members belong to IOFE. Not only that, Justice Muhammad Taqi Osmani was the head of IOFE. IOFE, sets the standard worldwide, and a lot of organizations have followed the IOFE standards and so on and so forth. Now, furthermore, to know that each and every product that we have, it is certified and assigned by the Sharia board. So we have, alhamdulillah, every single fatwa that our consumers will may be interested to see. It's there on our website, and we were very happy to share it with them either by mail or email. Now, I mentioned earlier, and in the slide of the history about the landmark of 2015 and AMJA.
Yes.
And for some of the audience who do not know what AMJA stands for, AMJA is the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. It's a body of scholars that meets every year, talks about topics that are related to Muslim American in the society, whether it is about divorce that is increasing here, whether it's about Islamic finance, whether it's about many other topics, or masajid, and so on and so forth. So they met in 2014, I believe, and the topic was Islamic finance in America. They invited every other institution who claimed to have a Sharia compliance product, and they invited guidance as well. So they've listened and heard each and every one's case, and alhamdulillah, they've actually come out after 6 months of research with a great declaration that, if you read it here, that says clearly that guidance and its decline in balance co-ownership program, it's permissible. It's a permissible path for Muslim American in need, when they need to buy a home that uses our contract. And they classified all other institutions below that level, meaning some of them are forbidden. They cannot be used according to AMJA, and others can only use under dire need. So when you do the classification, you will understand that when you need to buy a home, according to AMJA scholar, if you follow some of the scholars and their opinion, that need can be met with guidance and guidance program, inshallah.
Inshallah. So now that we see that we have extensive and comprehensive backing from Islamic scholars, mashallah, we can now illustrate, how to our viewers how exactly our program works. So at the beginning of our presentation, you spoke briefly about riba or usury and how it's not permissible. So can you just explain to our viewers our distinctive method of Islamic home financing and how we stand out from the rest?
Sure. Again, what I mentioned earlier, that we have a unique program, and we are the only institution using that program here in the state. No other institution is able to use that program. But again, let me go back to the definition of riba and talk about what's permissible before we talk about our program and how it is structured in the state. So what is riba? Riba, the definition of riba, it's an Arabic term, but not to, to be, more educated or talk about things that may not make sense. Riba simply is an increase of, a transaction. When someone lends someone money, in return, Islamically speaking, you should not ask for more than what you lend. If I lend you $100, you have a grace period of 15 a month, and give me back my $100. If I asked you for $2 in the top of that $100, that's considered riba. And the word again, the essence of the word is rabwa. We're in a hell that's been created by just dust and sand, out of nothing. That makes, you're making money out of money, money that did not added value. So that's the definition of riba. Money, again, has no intrinsic value, meaning you cannot transact on money. I cannot make money to be a commodity. We cannot say, okay, let's have $100. So, for example, if I have $100 and I want to sell it to you, you will not be buying it from me for $105, because it doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, that's what happens every day in the industry. So again, money is a method of exchange. So definitely there is things that are permissible. There is methods that are permissible. One of them is, loaning, as I mentioned to you, without asking for any return. It's called charity. But if we're asking for my money back, it's loaning. And you can do trade, or you can you can buy and sell. So having said that, how do we actually, use it in our model in home financing? Mm-hmm. Home financing, there is 3 ways that are very known. The first one is called purchase and resell, the murabaha. So the bank or the institution will buy the commodity, will buy the house, and resell it to you. Meaning, number 1, the institution has to have full right of that commodity, and then resell it to you for a higher price with installment. Mm-hmm. So if a bank bought a home for $100,000 and now he's setting up an installment for 30 years, you and the bank can agree on buying the house from the bank for $200,000, as long as there's an agreement and as long as the bank owns that commodity. Right. We can talk about the ijara before we talk about the musharaka, because the ijara is another model. It's called lease to own. The ijara model, the scholars and the ulama says that the bank or the institution continue to own that commodity. So the bank will continue to own the house, but I'm leasing it back to you. So if any company out there that claim to do ijara, but they don't have full ownership, that means there's some contradiction to the ruling of the Sharia when it comes to this area. Having said that, if the bank owns that property, the bank or the institution should be responsible for the maintenance, responsible for taxation and all that. The last method, or the third method, it's called musharaka, or a partnership. And that's what guidance uses. And now, partnership can be mistaken for many, many partnerships. There is all kind of partnership, but the most famous one, or the 2 that are very known, one is called business venture, which is shirakatul aqd, which means that 2 partners getting into a partnership, whether buying a home together or whether establishing a business together, and they work on profiting from that business. Meaning, if both partners have an equity stake 50-50, they will share the profit 50-50, or they will share the loss 50-50. The other partnership, or the other musharaka that guidance uses, called asset ownership, shirakatul milk, where one of the partners, which is in this case our customers, end up owning the share of guidance. So guidance will enter to a partnership with our partner. Our partner will have a down payment of 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 30%, however. Some of our clients will have, 3% or 5%, and we work with them.
Right.
The remaining balance is our share. Our partner or our customer will use our share as well as his share. In return, while he or she using our share, they pay what it's called a utilization fee, a usage fee. So, this is the method that we've been using, and I think it's very important to understand the benefit of this method, why it is a much better way of, an industry that we've been practicing here. Number one, it is approved by an independent Sharia board. And as I shared with you earlier and with the audience, we have 7 of the most notable scholars who have actually approved our program. And in the top of that, AMJA have, alhamdulillah, issued a declaration that guidance program is very sound and one of the best. We have a unique clause that none of our competition or even the conventional has. It's called a non-recourse commitment, meaning in the event of there is a customer default or guidance does not have a recourse against the customer personal asset. So if you are our customer, mm-hmm. and you are not able to make payments due to circumstances that are beyond your control.
Right.
Other institutions, banks,
God forbid,
of course, inshallah, I'm just, saying an
example. Yes.
Exactly. Other institutions as well, whether Islamic or non-conventional, they have the right, because when you sign a contract with them, literally with conventional, you sign in a promissory note. They're lending you money. We're not lending you money. We're entering into a partnership with you with this non-recourse. So other institutions will have the right to go after your personal asset if you defaulted. So if you have another house, if you have business, they can put a lien against those other assets till you pay them back.
Right.
So this is a unique clause that only guidance has. There's no prepayment penalty, meaning if you're a guidance customer or a partner and you decided to just pay off our balance, and after 4 months you just pay off the balance, there will be no profit made out of your contract. We share the risk. God forbid, again, if there is an eminent domain or if there is a hurricane or earthquake and the insurance did not pay for the full damage, then guidance will share the risk with you in this case. This is a unique clause as well. Mm-hmm. The late payment fee is capped. In the conventional world, they will use 2% or 3%, and if you're late again, it gets compounded, and if you're late again, you get compounded, and it gets increasing. No, we don't do that, mm-hmm. and the Sharia board said we can never do that. However, according to Sharia board, we can charge a fee that we have incurred while you were late, because when you're late, we have to send you a letter. Someone has to call you. Someone has to update the programming. So that costs us money. Right. So according to the Sharia board, we can only charge you a capped late fee, and the maximum will be $50. Now, this is the features of our declining balance co-ownership. There's a video here which we will send you the link. And you can play it on your own time, because if we played it here, due to some of the audience are far away, they may be lagging. But if you stay with us till the end, you can also go our YouTube channel and be able to play that YouTube. And we have a very strong YouTube channel. Then we have also social media, Facebook, and so on and so forth, that you can visit for further information. But before we move on, there's one more slide that I want to share here, and that talks about the comparison between Sharia compliant contract versus a mortgage loan. A mortgage loan, when you sign a promissory note, a mortgage loan, it simply talks about lending and borrowing method, meaning the house is yours. You own the house 100%. But the organization or the conventional bank is putting a lien against it. There is no ownership involved in the bank. So they're putting a lien, they're lending you money. In return for using that house or for owning that house, you have to pay them their money plus interest. With us, we don't do that. We're not lending you money. We're creating a partnership. You have an ownership. This example says 30%. But again, you can do as low as 5%. And as you're making payments, which I'm going to share with you on another example, as you're making a payment, a portion of your payment, it goes back to your equity.
Right.
So you're building equity in your house. And the other portion goes back to us because you're using our share. Little by little, slowly but surely, you'll become 100% owner of our share. And that's when the partnership is dissolved. Now you become 100. So the difference is very critical. When you go to conventional, there is a lending and borrowing involved. And that lending and borrowing transact based on money. So money becomes, as I mentioned earlier in the slides, money becomes, the essence of this transaction.
Right.
They are lending you money, you're giving them their money back plus interest. The house is not used as collateral or anything. You choose the house, you're going to be owner 100% of the house, so on and so forth. With us, we don't do that. We enter to a partnership with our customers. What is the benefit or the difference between us and others? So if you look at the co-ownership, we're the only one who are using the co-ownership. The musharaka is something exclusive to us. We do not involve interest-bearing loans. Others do. The non-recourse contract that I've just mentioned is unique to us. We are certified by an independent Sharia supervisory board. All of them are member of the IOF. Others don't. Endorsed by the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. Others, as I mentioned earlier, either they completely don't have that endorsement, or if they're endorsed, they have different conditions. They can only be used under dire need. We are not affiliated with any bank. Others do. We're not trading in debt. When I've talked about, Murabaha program, and that's another area where Murabaha, you cannot, because it's a debt, so you cannot sell it in the secondary market. Others who are in this industry, they do Murabaha, but unfortunately they take that debt and they sell it in the secondary market. According to the scholars, it's not permissible. And there's so many benefits that guidance have provided, and we're not the #1 Islamic finance company for no reason, because again, we make sure that we do not compromise when it comes to the Sharia values of our program. So to share an example about the payment and how the payment structure works, I'm using this slide to talk about a 15-year program. So for some of the customers out there who are actually going to purchase a home this month or next month, understand that this slide is a little older. Not that old. It's just about maybe 4 or 5 months or 2 months old. The rate at 15 years was at 3.125. It has increased a little bit. So this slide is only there for an understanding. It's not an actual code for any transaction that is taking place today. So the example, $100,000 home, a 15-year program. Your monthly payment will never change. Will continue to be $696. That, of course, you're going to have to make sure to add taxes and insurance. It's not factored here. But you see, your acquisition, 436 out of 696 goes back to your equity. So today you have 5%. Tomorrow you have 5% plus 436. The remaining 260 goes to our profit because you are using our share. Next month, because your share had increased in the house and our share had decreased, you're going to continue to pay the same monthly payment, but 437 now goes to your equity.
Right. And
the difference goes back to us, so on and so forth. The 30-year program works similar, but again, because it's a 30-year, it does take longer, so let's go toward your equity and more go toward the profit because it's a 30-year. So that's in a nutshell how the program works, and I'm sure we're gonna have questions. We can definitely address all of the questions that our audience have tonight, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for explaining how our program works. And I'm sure a lot of people are interested in our audience to, inshallah, purchase a home in the near future. So can you please let us know if we have any special promotions going on right now that can benefit them?
Great. That's, when I talked earlier about our sister company,
Yes.
and Guidance Realty Homes, that's another benefit that we're going to share tonight. But I am also going to tell or share with our audience another even greater benefit. Every company that you go to, whether it's conventional or other institutions, they have what is called closing costs.
Right.
We do have our closing costs to cover for what? Cover for processing your file, to cover for underwriting, to cover for so many other things. But as of 1/1/2017, we've launched a new program that's going to help our consumer and our audience understand that when they choose Guidance, they do not have to pay origination fees, which is about $1,195, $1,200. That's a saving every time one of our customers decide to move forward with Guidance. How do we do that? It's very simple. We have developed in the past few years that we've been working in this industry, great relationship with so many real estate agents. And those real estate agents have willingly said that we'd like to help your customers. And because they are doing so, we have actually talked to them about not only helping our customers in showing houses and making their commission, but give back to our customers. And many of them have agreed to that. So the proposition is here. If you use guidancerealty.com, you'll see some of the realtors, and believe me, in every state, in every corner, there is a realtor that is subscribed who is willing to help our customers. Once you go to closing, that real estate agent, out of his commission, have agreed to give $500 back to our customer, and then in Guidance, in return, they've actually removing $695 from their origination fee.
Wow.
So the result, our customers or our partners end up walking away with less closing costs, and this is a great option that is attracting a lot of attention and a lot of customers. It's $1,200. Why not?
Yeah.
If you can, use it. Of course, definitely you have to find the right realtors who are actually willing to work with you to do so.
You can use it on some new furniture instead for your new home.
Absolutely. There's more than just furniture. I know the ladies only or focus on furniture. You can take the kids in Sunday school and weekend school, inshallah. So, I'm not sure if we have any questions. This is in a nutshell our presentation today. Guidance Realty Homes, as I've shared with you earlier, is our sister company. And when you use a real estate agent who works for Guidance Realty Home, you'll be benefiting from the fact that we will have, save you about $1,195, inshallah. This is unique to us, and no other company is providing the services. We have built a great platform for our customers to visit our website, get pre-qualified on the spot. We have many, loan officers, if you want to call them loan officers, and they are licensed, federally licensed by the states, by, federal, to take calls and take questions, and they're all over in the 26 states that I shared with you. We have about 40 right now, and by the end of 2017 we have more. So you are covered. If you are a customer and you're willing to work with us and you have questions, we are here to help you and make sure that we cover all of your questions. Part of it tonight, And of course, after tonight, you'll have access to all of our, tools to be able to, to purchase your home seamlessly without having to, go through a lot of frustration, inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, thank you so much, Abdul Samad, for providing us with all of this beneficial information, being very thorough, mashallah. So we'd like to now open up the Q&A session of the segment of our program, and we'll, inshallah, be answering your questions. Our first question is, does Guidance Residential also do commercial financing?
I've been with Guidance for 11 years. I've always heard that question. My answer is simple: no, we don't. However, there's a reason why we haven't yet moved to commercial, because we want to make sure that we focus on residential. We master the residential. We do well on our residential program, and once which we are now at the stage where, alhamdulillah, over $500 million, $500 million company now every year. We've closed over $500 million last year. More and more, at this point, more investors are interested to know more about Guidance, and I think perhaps within a year or so, or 2 years, we will have new programs such as perhaps commercial, but right now we don't have commercial. And if you mean by commercial a business, there is no such company that does a business. But if you mean commercial as in terms of an investment, so if someone who wants to buy an investment property, and that investment property is a 4 units or below, that's something that we can help you. So many of our audience now should know that if you're in the market, let's say you have a home already, but you want to purchase another property as an investment, because owning a home in America, it is an investment in many cases, especially if you're buying a 2 or 3 or 4 family unit. Now that we are able to help you, the down payment vary a little, slightly. It's not 5%, it's going to be more than 20%, but you will be able to do it Sharia way, and you will be able to have a peace of mind while you're doing the investment property through Guidance, inshallah.
Inshallah. So our next question is, what types of financing does Guidance offer?
Mentioned earlier that Guidance uses the method of co-ownership. I'm gonna quickly go back to this slide here. That's the method that we use. It's called musharaka. It's a partnership, and it's an asset ownership. So we are partner with the customers, both the customer and us. We enter to a partnership. I want to make sure I understand the question. Can you repeat it one more time?
What types of financing does Guidance offer?
Yeah, so we finance homes.
Yes.
That's the type of financing. We only do homes, strictly homes, residential, but we do investment as well, investment properties. And the way we finance them is through the asset ownership, meaning we enter to a partnership with our customers.
Yes. The next question is, how do you make profits to stay in business?
Definitely, we are we are for-profit organizations, so we do have to make profit. And this slide here I shared with you earlier, it talks about how we make profit. So let me share this with you again quickly. Your monthly payment, it's right here, it's coming up. Okay, so again, this is a 15-year program, and just to share with you, this is our profit every month. Your monthly payment in this example. So imagine, and we do have a lot of customers who buy $500,000 home, $600,000 home, so on and so forth. And some of our customers use a 30-year program, which the profits even higher. So we do make profits, alhamdulillah, and without having to make profit, we won't be able to be here, we won't be able to have our doors open. So your monthly payment is constituting of two elements. One, it's called acquisition, which is a portion that goes back to you as our partner to build equity in your house. The remainder, or the difference, is the profit. How we determine that, and I think the question is alluding how we determine our profit. We benchmark our pricing against the industry. So every single day we look at the market. Conventional institutions are charging 4% as an interest for their client. We are gonna make sure we charge similar pricing for our customer as profit, not as interest. So our customers will have to pay just as much as they pay if they go to other institutions, but they will pay it in a different way instead of interest. To, again, to understand the difference, it's not money against money. With us, we doing a partnership. We have an ownership in this house.
Yes.
So because we have an ownership and you are using our ownership, utilization fee is our profit, and the way we determine the utilization fee is by giving you a profit. Number one, it's something that we are mandated by federal law, state law, to share with you, 4%, 3%, whatever it is. And number two, you as a consumer, you'll have something to go and shop around to see if guidance is overcharging you or undercharging you. So it's in your benefit that we quote you a rate. Right. Some of, I've done many presentations, and some of the audience will say you call it a rate, that means you're not permissible, and that's a misunderstanding. Because if you own a business, Hannah, and I come to you at the end of the year and say how much money you made, you can tell me I made $10,000 or 20, or you can tell me I made 10% return on my investment.
Yes.
When you say 10%, it doesn't mean you made that money wrongfully. No. 10% is done through your hard work. And then that's exactly what happened. When we say we're doing 4% or 3.5%, it's done through a method that is Islamically permissible. Basically, and that's how we make money.
We're just basically expressing the profit in a percentage as opposed to a dollar amount. That's correct. Just what it comes down to. And you actually Correct. Answered the next question, which was if it's not the same as interest, we just name it profit, but you did already just touch on that, the difference of interest and profit. The next question is, if it's Islamic, why do you need credit scores?
So it's very important. A lot of our customers really ask this question, so it's not the first time we're hearing this question. I, as your partner, if I want to do business with you, I need to know who you are. So let's just scale back and say, for example, you're not dealing with guidance. You're talking to one of your friend and colleague and want to do business with you. If your friend or colleague have heard bad reputation on you from other people that you've done business with, I'm sure he will walk away and say, I will not be doing business with you because you did not pay so-and-so, or you actually did not came to good term with previous people. So he knows you on a personal level. Mm-hmm. We don't have that luxury as an organization. In the States, here in America, there's a system that is developed. It's called credit score. It only tells us how you have dealt in your financial and how you handled your financials previously before we talk to you. Yes. So in order for us to do business with someone, we need to know that person is, number one, will fulfill his agreement, because there's an agreement. You and guidance will come to term that we will partner with you in such house, and in return you'll have an obligation to pay every month. If we don't know that you have fulfilled your obligation before, we won't be able to risk all of our capital with someone who we do not know. So it is essential to have a credit score and a good credit score. Now, depending on your history, sometimes the score can be a 620, meaning bad. There's some collection, there's some judgment, but still there's a history that tells that person maybe just gone under hardship sometimes and so on and so forth, and still we work with them. But if you have less than 620, 580, meaning you did not pay attention completely to your credit history, we will not do business with you because we will be risking our relationship with you. We will get into business with someone that history tells us he does not fulfill his obligations. And that's why you have to use credit history.
Okay, our next question is Guidance's home financing program only for Muslims?
No, absolutely not. In fact, we have non-Muslim customers, we have Indian who are non-Muslims, we have other faiths who are non-Muslims. So by all means, in fact, the non-recourse that I've talked about earlier,
Yes.
It's a unique clause. For some of the audience, remember what I mentioned when I mentioned the non-recourse. It's unique. So we have non-Muslims who actually choose to go with Guidance because they have a peace of mind. If they defaulted, they don't have to worry about their other asset. So if you're not Muslims and you are in our audience and you want to choose to work with us, we are more than happy to work with you as well.
Okay. What is the minimum down payment required to purchase my home with Guidance?
If it's a single family home, it is 5%. If it is a two-family home, there is cases where you can use 5%, but in most cases, the minimum on a multifamily home is 20%. But again, we're welcome to talk to us, and we can see your scenario and your situation. There is cases where there's program that we can use 3.5%. But right now, let's just say 5%. That's the bare minimum.
Okay. We have a few questions about Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and basically their involvement in our contracts.
Yeah, it's a good question. We used to have a slide in our presentation that talks about that relationship. It's important for the audience to know this question. Most of you may not know who's Freddie Mac and who's Fannie Mae, and if you do know Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, that's great. But there is a misconception out there that a lot of people think that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are banks, but unfortunately that's a misconception. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are two institutions chartered by the Congress back in late 60s and early 70s for one purpose and one purpose only. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae exist to facilitate liquidity to the mortgage industry here in the state. That's their role. What they do, they actually give money to banks. That's liquidity, so banks can transact and do business with consumers. So 75% of all mortgages in America get sold back to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Guidance to be able to work with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, it took a lot of great and hard work to convince them to work with us as well. Now, many think that we're borrowing from Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and that's not the case because, again, they are not banks. They are not there to lend money. They actually buy the contracts. They supply liquidity. So I'll give an example. Let's say we have a customer today decided to proceed with us, and now we have a contract with our customer. It's $100,000. He or she put 5%, and the remaining, which is 95. We turn around to our investors, which is Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, and say, okay, we have a stake, an ownership in this asset, and we want to sell it to you. And it's within our agreement with you that we will be able to sell our share if we choose to, and we do sell to our investors. So our relationship between us and our investors, it's a buy-sell agreement, completely halal, buy and sell agreement. We don't borrow money from them, we don't pay them interest. And then the relationship between us and our customer is a partnership. We continue to serve your contract, all the monthly payment, we collect them. We act on behalf of our investors as a servicer. All you need to deal with is guidance from day one to the end of your contract. So that's in a nutshell the relationship between us and Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Tomorrow, we have other investors. They may be from Saudi Arabia or maybe from Muslim community get together and have fun that wanted to invest in guidance. We don't have to use Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. We may just use the fund that are available to us. So it's a buy-sell transaction between us and our investors, and we had other investors than Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. I hope this clarified this misconception, and if still there is no clarity, by all means, I'll give my number toward the end of this session, and I would be more than happy to answer those questions further in detail, inshallah.
Inshallah. So we have also a few questions about if you buy a home in one state, but you end up moving to another state before you complete ownership, so you're not 100% owner yet. How does that process work? And someone else asked a similar question that basically, what is the process for, if that scenario happens, what is the process for selling the home and purchasing somewhere else?
Oh, so that's the beauty of a partnership. See, our customers should know that the Murabaha program or the profit markup that we've talked about and other institutions use literally talks about an agreement that they're selling you the house for $200,000. I'm just using this example of 100. So after 15 years, they're selling it to you for 200 or 138,000. That alone, it tells you that you cannot move out, or if you want to move out, you just have to pay the whole entire balance. So the beauty of musharaka or partnership, we enter with you to a partnership. Each and every single month, your share increase, our share decrease. At any given moment, you are free to walk away from this partnership. As I mentioned earlier, there is no prepayment penalty. Therefore, if you decided to move out, let's say, for example, we're going to use this example. After 60 months, after 5 years, for example. No, let me just go here. After 5 years, 5 years, your balance, you've started with guidance with $100,000. After 5 years, your balance with guidance is $71,000. So you sell the house, let's say, for example, for $140,000 or $160,000. All you need to give guidance is $71,000. That's what guidance share at this point. So you decide to buy, we help you facilitate this transaction. When you decide to sell, you are free to sell at any given time. We're not going to share profit with you when you sell, because we are making profit every single month here. That's our profit. So at any given time, you are free to sell your house. All we make sure that we acquire back from you is our balance. So if you're moving from one state to another state, you are free to sell the house, use another realtor, or sell it on your own. Find someone who can assume what they call the mortgage and just pay us the $71,000 and you can move forward. Now, if you want to keep that house and move to another state, that's all. That's fine as well. We're not going to intervene in your business life because you may probably like that house and you want to just rent it as an investment, because perhaps when you're going to rent it, you're going to make a cash flow of $200 or $300 or $400. So you are free to rent it as long as you're paying us the monthly payment. That's our agreement with you. The promissory note does not exist, but it is an obligation to pay us every month. So as long as you're making a monthly payment, we do not intervene in your daily business. I think that's the question.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I missed any part of it.
No, that definitely answered it. Another question kind of on the same wavelength here is if the house loses or gains value, does Guidance Residential's remaining loan amount change? Does the loan amount increase or decrease?
So first, we're not entering into a loan situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a loan. We're not lending you money. We're entering into a partnership. You and Guidance are partnered, and the agreement, it's not to buy, sell, to speculate. The agreement that we are facilitating this ownership so you can inquire or can acquire our share from us at later time with installment. So let's say after 5 years, the house skyrocketed. It's no longer 100,000; it's $250,000. All that money is yours to keep, because our agreement with you is to make sure you pay us monthly. That's how we make our profit with you. Again, at any given moment, you are free to sell the house and to pay us. If the house went down in value, no one is obliging you to sell the house. You live in the house. No one is telling you move out.
Right.
So if it went down or it went up, that's not something that we're going to speculate or get into. As long as you make monthly payment, you should be fine. Now there is hardship, there's situation that you cannot make payment. Those are different circumstances. There is, what it's called mitigations. There's modifications. So you have to reach out to us. You have to talk to us. We have to assess your situation to see if you really have hardship. Some of the brothers and the sisters, they do have hardship, so we help them. We take 6 months, freeze their payment, almost a year, freeze their payment, and then when they get back on their foot, we establish the relationship again.
Right.
But if we decided to terminate this relationship and foreclose, we're going to use our ability to take back as much as possible to cover for our share.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question is, are closing fees always paid by the new buyer, or can they also be paid by the owner of the property or the seller?
Closing fees are usually paid by, there's the seller pays a part of it, and the buyer pays a part of it. And the closing fees, for some of you who may not know what the closing fee constitutes of, there's third parties fees, such as an attorney fee, title company fee, title that does title search, make sure the house, there is no lien against the house, there is no mechanical judgment, so on and so forth. There is taxation that need to be paid, a part of it. Some states you have stamp taxes, so the buyers pay taxes, and then the seller pays his portion. And then there is a portion that is paid to Guidance, because Guidance is helping you to facilitate this transaction. But if you use our program with the realtor, all of the fees, almost $1,200, is zero. So you don't have to pay a single penny to Guidance if you use our program. So that's the advantage that you will have using our unique program. And in general, just so we're very, using a common lay term here, closing fees are usually paid by the buyer, and there is closing fees are paid also by the seller.
Okay, very good. As the next question we have is the rate based on federal interest rates?
It's not based on federal interest rates, because the Federal Reserve, when they say we have 0.2 or 0.5 or anything like that, they're talking about the lending between banks. A bank lend to a bank, they use the Federal Reserve. Now, what it is based on is based on the market. So if you walk into Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo or Quick Loan or any other, and then you ask them for their rate, you're going to find that all similar, close to each other. That's how we benchmark our price. It's based on our investors as well, because our investors, they also want to make money. It's based on our market share, and we make sure that we are competitive. We remain to be very competitive. At any given day, we compare ourselves to large institutions, and many times, believe it or not, many times, and there's a misconception out there that Islamic finance is more expensive. That's a myth. And I ask that you bring a good faith estimate. If you have it with another bank, and share it with us, you'll find that we are very competitive. Now, we are not the cheapest or the most expensive. We are in the middle. So if you're looking for just pricing, the least expensive or the cheapest, I can assure you, you're not gonna find us the least expensive, the least cheapest or less expensive. We are very competitive. We want to work with each and every one of you, and we want to make sure that when you do this, you have the peace of mind, but you have a payment that is very competitive to the market, inshallah.
Sure. Okay, we have when someone actually finds a house, how do we go about purchasing that house? Does someone from guidance contact the realtor of the seller?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please, if you don't mind?
So when someone actually finds a home, how do we go about purchasing that house? Does someone from guidance contact the realtor of the seller?
Okay, so
maybe they're talking more about they found the house on their own.
Exactly, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you found the house on your own and there is no realtor representing you, there is an agreement that the seller's realtor will make you sign, and they will represent you and the seller. It's called dual representation. But I will, encourage, the person who's asking this question, if he or she hasn't yet made an offer, to really look into having a realtor representing her or him. Because at the end of the day, you as a customer or as a buyer, you do not pay the real estate agent a single fee, none. All the realtor fees are being paid by the seller. So it's in your advantage to use a realtor who's representing you. However, when you find a home, and let's assume that you do not have a real estate representing you, I hope that you contacted an attorney to make sure that the contract is sound and everything, because you have to have an attorney helping you through this transaction. You're not buying a car or some small item ticket. You're buying a home, and it's worth to make sure that you're doing your inspections. Just make sure you hire an attorney who can protect you if there is any challenges with the house. Long story short, once you start the process with us and you give us the sales contract, we will have all the information. We will contact your attorney. We will contact, we cannot contact the seller's realtor because he's not representing you. But if you give us the okay and you say, okay, he's representing me as well, then we will definitely be happy to work with him, so on and so forth. So step one is to contact us, to talk to one of our loan officers or mortgage loan officers. If you in a state that I've showed you earlier and it's yellow, understand and know that there is so many of our brothers and sisters who can help you. And then the process starts from there. We take your application, we get your file conditionally approved, we send the condition to the attorney, and we make sure he understands that now you're conditionally approved. We get the appraisal done, and step by step we get you through the process till you get the key in your hand and you move in, inshallah.
Inshallah. So our next question is, if we want to finance a home at 70% on our side and 30% on your side, is that possible?
Absolutely. We have customers who actually did the same. Just understand that we have a bare minimum contract. Anything below $60,000, guidance does not finance. So if the 30% is $60,000 and above, we will be very happy to work with you and help you this process, inshallah. And the beauty of this, if you end up getting a lump sum and you want to pay off that 30% within 2 or 3 months, you are free to do it. There's no prepayment penalty, and believe it or not, we walk away making no money with you because you shorten the period of time from 15, 30 years to 3 or 4 or 5 months.
Okay, I think that concludes the questions. I hope that we've answered all of them. So we've reached the conclusion of our webinar this evening, and we would just like to thank you for taking the time to join us. We hope that you've benefited from our session, and invite you to visit our website, guidanceresidential.com, for further information. And we'll also be sending you an email with the link to the recording of this webinar, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thank you to our audience. I hope that you walk away with some good knowledge about Islamic finance and how guidance does their contract. I hope you the best, and good evening for all of you, inshallah. We look forward to helping you جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.